薄いのアホ。プリズムパワーメイクアップカードレディー。
Welcome to Shojo Tell, where we discuss shoujo manga and tell who's hot and who's not, talk about themes, and just generally geek out. Today, March 15th, 2018, we'll be shoujo telling about the series Strobe Edge by Io Sakisaka. I'm your host, Ashley McDonald, and I'm joined by the creator of Anime Intensity, Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi, my name is Alyssa, and I run a YouTube channel called Anime Intensity. I do a bunch of different anime-related videos, and I hope you check it out. And I really am a huge fan of shoujo manga. I don't have a particular favorite, but I absolutely love many different shoujo series, and I would love to talk about so many, not just Strobe Edge.
Great. I love knowing that recurring guests I can have, because that
Yes.
makes my life easier. Yeah, I'm also going to forewarn that I'm probably going to mess up so many names. Like, Sakisaka is so hard every time I look at it. I'm like, I know how to say it, but I always stumble. And I'm going to apologize to all the nerds out there who get really offended when you say things wrong, because I'm totally going to do it, and I'm sorry. Yeah, but Alyssa, would you like to give a brief plot synopsis about what Strobe Edge is about?
Sure, we have this vibrant girl named Nanako, and she really wants to know what love really is. And there's a school heartthrob, and well, he's very popular. At first, she doesn't really know too much about him, but slowly she falls in love with him. But then next thing you know, there's also some other male figures in this manga, and we have like a love triangle going on, and just a lot of strong women that go through heartbreak, and it's just their story. It's very cool.
It's a very simple story, but very affecting, I think.
It is. It's like a lot of one-sided love.
Yeah, that's definitely the main theme, is like, what do you do with one-sided feelings?
Yeah.
Just be sad, I guess. I don't know. No, we'll get there.
Yeah. There's a lot of crying involved.
Yeah. I would thought there was shockingly not as much crying as there could be, you know? Like, it was pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe I read that you were like, this is one of your more recent favorites. So does that mean that you only picked it up recently, or had you read it before?
Well, I read it maybe a couple of years ago. I picked it up at my local library, and I was instantly hooked with that first volume, and I had to read the rest of the series after I read that first volume. So that was a few years back, but I consider it to be a more recent favorite just because a lot of shoujo series that are my favorites, they're kind of older now, so I would consider this to be more of a recent favorite.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because we are definitely aging at a rate that displeases me.
Yeah, oh, me too.
Yes, but I guess I had a similar experience. I read it a couple years ago from the library, honestly, because I was just like, Strobe Edge is a cool name. I want to read that. But I have to say that when I read it a couple years ago, I was like, it was okay. It was kind of boring, but rereading it this time, I was like, I appreciate this more for whatever reason. Probably because I'm in a better place where I'm like, I actually really appreciate just how nice all the characters are. I appreciate the simple story in this very divisive time. I'm like, it's not overly dramatic. It's just nice.
It's very true. Very true. Uh-huh.
Is there anything that, like, in particular you really love about it that stands out above other series?
What I really admire about this series is that it really does focus on the one-sided love. I feel like other shoujo manga, it's not really always about that one-sided love. So I do have to admit that I like that aspect of this manga. Also, a lot of the characters, I really love the characters, which we'll definitely get to talk about those. But
Yes.
The characters were lovely, and I just love that whole concept of one-sided love because I don't see that quite often in manga. So that was one thing I admired.
Yeah, and I really appreciate shoujo manga that, like, focuses on friendship more than other things.
Oh, that's true. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I really appreciated the focus on, like, Ando and Ren's friendship. They are the two sexy men.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see. I'm gonna mess up Nanako's name a lot. I'm not gonna say it as nice as you did when you were reading the summary. But yeah, she has a whole gaggle of friends that are all really nice, and I'm like, yay! That's the type of pleasantness I'm here for.
Exactly. And this is actually like that's I feel like a common theme with Sakisaka Io's works because also Ao Haru Ride, I don't know if you've read that one yet or watched the anime. It's similar in the sense where there's a lot of friendship as well in Ao Haru Ride. So if you haven't read that manga yet, I would definitely try that one too because there's definitely similar themes going on between the two stories.
Yeah, I actually haven't read it yet. But then I was like, oh, there is an anime. It's only 12 episodes. I should watch the anime. That's probably what I'll do in like the next week. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess in my mind I was, at least Sayuri reminded me a lot of Yano from Kimi ni Todoke. I don't know if you've read or watched that. Yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, I can see the Kimi ni Todoke influences here. And actually, my last recording was about "We Were There" by Yuki Obata. And the person that I did it with was like, I feel like Sakisaka is very influenced by Obata, and I was like, I could see that, yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, I would love to read that too.
Yeah, "We Were There" is definitely more dramatic than this, but I can definitely see the softer influences and the influences in the art. I feel like in the faces in particular, in the eyes. There's some overlap there. Yeah.
That sounds cool. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess before we go into more big spoilers, I just wanted to clarify where people could read Strobe Edge, because it is currently published by Viz Media's Shoujo Beatline, in North America at least. I can't speak for other countries. So you can buy it digitally and in print. It's still in print, even though it's kind of it's like 5 years old at this point. It's getting up there. I know. That's why I'm like, ugh, even this makes me feel old. So sad. And my normal warning that I might have a slight conflict of interest because my romantic partner does work at Viz. He makes their digital apps, but I did not read this digitally. I read this from library copies, so whatever. Not helping him there, I guess.
Well, the digital manga is really good. I have to admit the Viz app for manga is pretty good. So I gotta mention that.
There we go. See, endorsement of my boyfriend's apps. Yay. So let's dive in real hard to Strobe Edge. Still the best name of a manga. I'm really gonna push that that's the best name of a manga.
I think it's so cool, right?
I know. Well, okay, I guess we can do this first, but I'm gonna be honest that when I picked it up, I was like, oh yeah, it's probably gonna be about disco or something. And it's definitely not that.
Far from it, right?
Far from it, which made me a little bit sad, but I got over it, I guess. But I am really into EDM, so I was like, ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah, EDM manga when?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna throw this plug in here because I really do love this manga. There is After Hours, which there's only one volume right now, but it is a Yuri manga about two girls who are a DJ and a VJ, and I'm like,
what?
That is so good. You gotta go read it, Alyssa. Read it.
I've never heard of that. It sounds awesome.
Gosh, it's great. It's amazing. I'm like, this is all I ever wanted in life.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, anyway, so if you are, curious where the name Strobe Edge comes from, because it is kind of a weird name too.
Yeah.
Sakisaka does in a column from Volume 8, Chapter 27. I'll just read it so that we don't, misinterpret her words at all.
Yeah.
It was, I started out looking for a word that would describe the sensation of being in love. What came to mind was the strong flash of light in photography, strobe light. It seemed like a good image of that powerful, bright, and sometimes stabbing sensation of being in love. And then for that strobe to pierce the heart, it had to be sharp, right? So I added the word edge, with all of its meanings, blade, rim, end. I felt like it was perfect to describe that feeling of being cut into, as well as how instantaneously the feeling can strike you. That's why I think it's the perfect title. It summons up an image of a bright, intense moment. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit of a weird explanation. But I think it's safe to say that we agree that this is a perfect title.
Oh yeah, definitely, yes.
100%.
It's great.
Great title.
Right.
All right, so now we can go back and talk about real things, like main characters and their struggles. So I always struggle with whether we should start with, the schmucky characters first, but nobody cares about them. So we'll just go right into main character Nanako.
Exactly.
So is she your favorite character? What do you love about Nanako? How would you describe her struggle?
Well, Ninako, I really like her personality because she's so vibrant. Like the plot said, she really is a vibrant character. And she kind of doesn't know what she wants at times. And, she's kind of, I wouldn't say she's shy, but she doesn't know how she feels towards Ren. And even though it slowly develops into a love kind of feeling, she is kind of oblivious at times. I feel like a lot of times in the manga, it's like, how do you not realize these things? Like, she's kind of oblivious to what's going on around her when it comes to Ren, when it comes to Ando, when it comes to Daiki, it comes to...
she doesn't know what flirting is, apparently. I don't know.
She absolutely does. So that drove me kind of crazy at times because I'm like, really? It's right in front of your face and you can't tell? So I think that's one of her struggles, is that she's really oblivious, but also the whole thing of how it is a one-sided love. And she, it's kind of sad because a lot of times she's like, it's so painful. And there's a lot of times on the pages where she's just saying, it's so painful, it hurts so much. And to see her struggle, to see this happy character struggle with her feelings and just deal with that pain with this one-sided love is so sad, because she's such a fun character and you don't want her to feel that way, but she does, because she's like, I have these feelings, but what do I do with them? So I really liked her as a character, and I liked seeing the progression of her character through this manga. We definitely there's a lot that happens in the span of 10 volumes.
Nanako is definitely, I think what the struggle for me was, I mean, obviously she's oblivious, and I'm like, yes, Ren is flirting with you. You think it in your mind, and then you're like, nah, that can't be true. And I'm like, no, it's definitely it's true. That's what he's doing.
Right.
But also just, even with the one-sided love, like this is my one big annoyance, which I don't have many, this is just the one big one, was that she's like, oh, Ren has a girlfriend, therefore he's always unavailable to me. And I definitely don't advocate people like trying to steal somebody's partner or like flirting with somebody's partner. Like, you should not do that. Right. But like, it kind of annoyed me that the thought never crossed her mind that they would break up. I'm like, y'all are in high school, like, calm down,
Right, yeah, right, it's true.
And so I was just kind of like, I feel like your friends would bring this up sooner, because Sayuri eventually does bring up mildly because of what has happened in her past, that she's like, well, they could break up or whatever. Somebody could, like, you could steal him. And I'm like, okay, that's a bad suggestion, but yeah, it's a reality that could happen, I suppose.
Right. I think it's funny because one of the pages when I was reading, it's like, oh, well, I'm just 16. And I was like, it kind of like...
You're like, yes, you're just 16.
Exactly. I'm like, you're just 16? I'm like, these are kids. And at that moment, they think that their relationship or, it is everything. And they think that that's it. So it's like, that's how Ninako is. It's like, she knows that he's in a relationship and she's like, I'm just going to keep suffering. There's no other way around it. Like, she doesn't see anybody else because right now her eyes are just on this one person. So, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, but he could become available. And that's kind of why I did like Mayuka's struggle, who Mayuka is Ren's actual current girlfriend at the beginning of the manga. And, her struggle is that she feels very badly because her parents have broken up, and she's like, no, I don't understand why, like, and at one point she kind of is like, if this wasn't going to work out forever, I don't understand why you did it in the first place. And then I like eventually that her father says, the feelings that I had in the past were all genuine, and like, we shouldn't have not done this. Like, I still love you. Like, I loved your mom. It's fine. I was like, thank you for acknowledging that very adult reality.
Exactly.
Because I feel like, yeah, a lot of stories, miss that it's kind of like feelings in the moment matter a lot. Like, they are very real, but they change. Like, what happened in that moment doesn't change over time, but just your general feelings will change over time. And I'm like, thank you, manga. I really appreciate this character progression of Mayuka.
Yes.
Coming to realize that she has changed. And I was like, great.
Right, because there's actually, I think there was a chapter, like a bonus chapter with Mayuka and Ren, and you definitely see how she changes. So that was just something I wanted to mention. It was a really interesting concept to see how she changed from that bonus chapter, and then you see how she changes and how she matures, but we'll get to that.
Well, we can talk about Mayuka if she's come up naturally. So I mean, just, yeah, I was very curious about I'm always curious about the breakdown of bonus chapters in manga. I feel like I didn't notice this before, but I'm like, there's so much stuff that gets relegated to bonus chapters that's like kind of important to plot. I'm like, I don't understand why this is a bonus chapter, but okay, sure, why not?
Yeah, no, that bonus chapter really showed how Mayuka and Ren like started going out and how they met each other and how she had just started modeling at that time. And you see how she just kind of wants approval, I guess you could say. Yeah. And she wants approval from Ren, and he's like, "Oh, why are you doing this? Why are you losing weight for this? Aren't you putting too much work into this?" And it's like it shows that he really liked her even before she was a model. And so I really liked seeing that little chapter and then seeing how she progresses in the manga, because eventually she gets her own wings. So you see how she is kind of dependent on others, their thoughts. And then she slowly ends up going on her own. And I just love that about her. She was actually one of my favorite characters in this manga.
Oh, interesting. Because I think I definitely misremembered things from her plotline rereading it. What I had remembered, I was like, oh yeah, like Mayuka and Nanako meet, and then like they get into some sort of like I really thought that they got into some sort of catty fight, and that like I remember not liking Mayuka because I didn't get her struggles, and then rereading it this time I was like, that one, they don't get into a catty fight, that does not happen. Yeah. Two, I was like, I still struggle a little bit with her thought process but mostly because that's not how I would think. But like rereading it, I was like, okay, I feel you more this time, Mayuka. Like, I get where you're coming from, I think.
Let me say, the bonus chapter definitely helps. It's in favor of her character for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about this manga is that, Sakisaka at some point in a column had been like, I'm writing this story that has no bad guy. And I was like, is that true? Like, did I come out of this story thinking, because I definitely, my lingering feeling about Mayuka apparently was that she was kind of like bleh. But then I was like, no, none of these people are bad, and they're all great, and I feel for their pain, and I love them.
Absolutely. Me too.
But I guess we should talk about the object of Nanako's and Mayuka's desire.
Of course.
Ren. I feel like I have mixed feelings about Ren personally, because
me too.
He's kind of bland, right? Or like he's like too nice. There's something weird about Ren. I don't know exactly what it is. How do you feel about that?
He is too nice, and because he is too nice, he doesn't go after what his heart wants, and that's what makes me angry.
That's true. And his niceness is in the form of like him going out of his way to like tell little white lies all the time, and I'm like, is that good? I don't think that's good. But he's hot. He's definitely hot, right?
Yes, he's a good looking character for sure.
Or unless maybe Ando's more your speed, I don't know. But yeah, like Ren is like a stylish, very nice man. He's definitely some sort of weird male ideal that I'm pretty sure does not exist.
Right, it's true.
Or, is very, very rare.
You know what I found really fascinating? There's at the school, there are a bunch of other girls that are obviously, you know, in love with Ren as well.
Of
And
course.
there's this part in the manga where they kind of don't defend Ren, where they're like, "Oh, he's probably just making fun of us behind our backs." And I was like,
Hmm.
I thought that was kind of strange because usually it's like, "Oh, girls don't usually say that kind of thing. They're like, oh, maybe he's in love with me, or no, he's in love with me." But no, they're kind of like, okay, this guy is just making fun of us behind our backs. And I
Oh
thought
yeah,
that was like, whoa.
his whole like rejected club or
Yeah, his
whatever,
rejected club.
because they're all like, "Oh, he dates a model, so he must think that we're not good enough for him."
Right.
And it's clearly used to demonstrate that they don't actually know Ren and
They
that
don't.
they've turned, which they, yeah, true, they don't, and they've like immediately turned on him even though he used to be the object of their desire, which like
Exactly.
doesn't fully make sense, but
Right?
sure.
That's what I thought was so weird. I was like, but don't you love this guy? Like, why are you bad mouthing him now?
I know. And like you can see the seeds of why they might think those things if they don't know him, because he's just kind of a quiet dude. And I mean, that makes sense. You kind of naturally think people are worse than they are, probably, rather than thinking that they're
Mhm.
nicer than they are. But
True. Hmm.
I was just kind of like, Ren, can you find a personality though? Like, I don't know.
No, it's true. He definitely needed more of a personality, and I think that if he had more of a personality, maybe those girls wouldn't be saying things like that. But the thing is, like, I feel like he could have more of a personality. Like, I forgot his name from Kimi ni Todoroke. What's his
Oh, what is his
Kazehaya.
name? Yes.
Kazehaya. So you see how Kazehaya has that likable personality. He's able to talk to everybody. He's friends with everybody, and he's cute too. So it's like I feel like Ren should have had that personality as well because he he is admired by so many people, but he doesn't have that personality to go with it. He's just kind of like a bland kind of character. So I wish he would have had more of an outgoing personality or more friendly so that people are like, hey, not only does he look good, but he has a great personality to match with it, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, Kazehaya at least too also has like I don't think Ren ever fully develops a darker edge, but in Kimi ni Todoroki we get like backstory about his family and like he doesn't like his dad
yeah.
and whatever. I don't want to spoil too much about that, but like, just generally like there's other things that happen there where you're like, all right. And I do remember Sakisaka at some point mentioned that she was like, I wanted Ren to have like a weird older brother who was like scraggly and unshaven and like worldly and like all these things. But yeah, it was in her like random trivia about Strobe Edge towards the very end. She was like, here were things that were scrapped and or whatever.
I would have liked to see that. That would have been funny.
I know, right? We don't get to see. Parents are definitely kind of a non-existent thing in this, aside from Mayuka and Daiki's parents, I guess. And we get like two scenes with Nanako's mom or something.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And she's like not a very appealing person in those two scenes, but okay. Because she's like in the opening being like, Nanako, you bought an apple. I didn't tell you to do that. Blah. And then the other one is just like, I don't know, her discovering that she likes Ren and is like, let me see a picture of this hot boy you like or whatever. But yeah, so I feel like Ren just needed more family reasons, maybe I don't know. Ren needed something.
Yes, he definitely did. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Actually, the only thing that he has going for him actually is Ando and his friendship with Ando. In those instances, he has a personality that like they have a jokey, weird personality with each other because they're like rivals, but they're friends. It's great. I love it. So let's talk about Ando.
Yeah, Ando. It's funny because at first I really did not like his character. I considered him to be kind of like the playboy, like where he's just
that's what people think of him in the beginning.
Yeah, where he just has a bunch of numbers from all these cute girls and Ren kind of gets angry about that. He's like, why don't you take any of these things seriously? But yeah, so I didn't really like Ando at first, but over time, I think I grew to like his character.
You fell in love with him like Mao? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It worked.
It worked. That's right. Ando, the winning, he'll win you over.
Yeah.
That's Ando for you.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess Ando has many things going on for him, I guess. Like he kind of is always living in the shadow of Ren. Everybody thinks Ren is hotter. The two girls that because Ando went out with this girl named Mao, and she ended up just kind of using him to get closer to Ren, but then really fell in love with him because of course she did.
Of course. Yeah.
Duh. But then, then he loves Nanako, but Nanako doesn't love him. She loves Ren. At least she doesn't pretend. That's another thing, actually. When I was rereading this, I was like, oh yeah, there is a point where Nanako just like decides to go out with Ando for a hot second. No, that does not happen. What's wrong with you, memory? I think I just was like, shoujo manga tropes. I'm going to throw all of them on top of this. And then those things don't happen.
They don't.
Like, really bad things don't happen in this manga. So I was just like, I don't know. My brain, I guess, like, they do kiss that one time, but it's totally Ando, like, forcing himself on her. So, I don't know. My brain's just wrong. But yeah, so Ando's story is very sad, but he's also, like, he's definitely the brashest character in this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Manga. Yeah, by far. Yeah, and, like, I guess that brash attitude could come off as abrasive, but it feels right in relation to Ren's very bland character.
I agree. I just feel kind of bad also for Ando because he's like, you could use me. Like, I know you like this guy, but use me. Go out with me. Just go out with me. I don't care if you don't like me. It's like,
I know.
It's kind of like a little desperate, but it's kind of sad at the same time because he just really likes Ninako, and he just wants her to notice that. He doesn't care that she doesn't have the same feelings. He's just like, spend time with me, be with me. And I felt bad for him, I have to admit.
I know, but I find that character arc so interesting because what he's so hurt about is that that's exactly what Mao did to him, is like, didn't love him at first, but then he was like, well, I'll win you over. And then from his perspective, he doesn't know that he's actually won her over. He thinks that she's still in love with Ren. And then I'm like, so why do you think that you can do this with Nanako? Like, why is it like my pride was hurt? I must do the thing that I wasn't able to do before, but now I'm going into it being like, I know how to do this better now, or like whatever. Right. It was a little bit of curious motivations, but Ando, I don't know. I guess he was like, well, I've tried this, like, sleeping around thing, this being with multiple girls thing, and, like, that was fun, but, let me try this being in love with the person who loves Ren and that Ren loves back again. Let's see how that goes. Round 2.
Right? It's true.
And just like, oh, Ando. He really doesn't give up, though. He confesses to her, like, 3 times. I'm like, oh.
He does. He's persistent.
He's very persistent, which is both good and bad, in the way that strengths are always really weaknesses, and vice versa. So.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think those are the real main characters, but then we know, we've got some nice side characters to spice it up and keep it different.
Oh, yeah.
The first one being Daiki. I'm very curious about your general feelings about Daiki.
I love Daiki.
Really? Okay, please tell me why.
Okay. Well, because, as soon as we saw him in the beginning, it's funny because his love for Ninako is very one-sided, but it never falters. It never does. And even though he ends up getting a girlfriend, he ends up and everything, it's just like he still has those feelings. He still holds on to those feelings, and he seems like such a nice guy, and he seems like he will just do everything to make the person that he loves happy. So I'm like, you know what? I really like his character. Like, he just seems like an overall good guy, and that's why I like him.
From that aspect, I can see it, like, in relation to Ren's seemingly, like, overly good guy attitude. I'm like, Daiki seems like a more realistic depiction of, like, actual good guys in real life to me.
Yeah,
like,
he's a good person. Yeah.
yeah, like a good person, but a little bit oblivious in a kind of annoying way.
Oh yeah, yeah, he did that too.
Yeah. But like still really sweet, still like tries really hard, you know, gets into a misunderstanding and doesn't really see it himself because again, he's a little bit oblivious, but then is like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean it that way." And I'm like, "All right, Daiki." But I think what annoyed me initially, like the one thing that kind of annoys me about him is that I definitely feel like his feelings just kind of did a 180 in regards to like, you know, he was like, "I really love you, Nanako. Like, you should date me. Don't go out with Ren." This is one of the love squares, I guess, that's initially set out.
Yes. Yes.
But then, you know, Sayuri comes and is like, "Well, you should go out with me instead," pulling the, like, Ando, like, "I'll make you fall in love with me as we date," and that's great. Like, let's just try it at least. But then as soon as she, you know, proposes that, Daiki kind of becomes... Like, it's very obvious that he likes Sayuri then, even though they don't agree to go out right then. And I'm just kind of like, but what about, I thought you liked Nanako as the main girl, Daiki.
I think that was just, you know, after being rejected and everything, he's just like, he's trying to move on. So it's like, even though he has those feelings for Ninako still, he just wants to try something new and see if he could find happiness somewhere else. So I thought it was great for him.
Oh, okay, fine. That's I guess Daiki's main other conflict is, you know, he's Mayuka's brother, so he's also with a divorced parent. You know, they split up. He lives with their dad. Mayuka lives with her mom. But then his dad is going to move and get remarried. And he's like, "Oh no, but I have a girlfriend that I just bought a $400 necklace for." And I'm like, yikes.
I can't believe it. I know. I can't believe he did that.
I mean, nice, but also yikes.
Yeah.
You're 16.
He was kind of like, he was like peer pressured into it. He's like, because her friends are like, "Oh, you're going to get this for her, right? You're going to make her happy, right?"
I know. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, so Daiki then, you know, has to choose between Sayuri and his dad. And I guess in the end, he kind of chooses Sayuri, but I like to think that it's, you know, other things. He wants to stay near Mayuka, doesn't want to have to make new friends in the middle of high school, like, understandable things. Yeah, and then I guess the misunderstanding happens because he's in a different class from everybody, and they, on the school trip, see him, like, maybe kissing another girl, but of course he's not, because he's a good guy.
Yep, of course, yeah.
Yeah, was I cutting you off about anything you wanted to say about Daiki there?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. He's just a really likable character, and I liked seeing how, especially his interactions with his father. I really loved seeing how, you know, he's like, "Hey, I'm going to have a talk with my dad," even though his dad just told him, you know, that they're going to be moving to Fukuoka, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to have a talk with my dad because now I'm in a relationship and I'm going to take matters into my own hands," you know, like, so I like that, you know, because he had the courage to say that to his father. And not only that, but his father kind of was like, "Okay, I understand what you're saying." I was like, this is a good, you know, a good scene where you just see the father and son interacting so well. So I actually really enjoyed seeing him and his father because I thought those scenes were just so strong.
That's true. I really respected that interaction also because, you know, his father didn't immediately dismiss his feelings. Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
I have kind of abrasive parents who would be like, "You're not staying here. Like, you're
true.
coming with me. True. You're just in high school. Your feelings don't matter." And I like that he at least respected that Daiki had feelings and feelings matter. I'm like, yes, thank you.
Exactly. That's what I liked. He didn't get angry. He was just like, "I understand you." So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I guess him and Sayuri also have a cute moment where they, like, contemplate running away, and then Daiki's like, "Crap, I spent all my money on the $400 necklace, and I can only buy one drink. Maybe I shouldn't run away." And I'm like, yes, Daiki, maybe you shouldn't. Oh, boy.
Oh.
Maybe. And then I'm glad that it didn't do the whole, like, because, you know, normally miscommunication is a big part of weird, angry love stuff. But no, him realizing that is what leads him to talk to his dad. And then they have a nice and pleasant talk. And I'm like, thank you, manga. Thank you for this good representation of things.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I guess now we can talk about Sayuri, Daiki's girlfriend.
Sayuri, she does seem like Yano from Kimi ni Todoke. And I liked her personality overall. And she's very beautiful. And he really ends up liking her. But there wasn't really too much about her that I didn't really care too much about her character. She wasn't really a favorite of mine. But I did find their relationship cute. I did find it cute. And I liked their relationship, but I didn't see her as a character that I was like, oh, like I want to know more about her. I just found her to be his girlfriend, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm like, is she supposed to be a foil to... Because, she's trying to prove the thing that, like, Ando can't successfully do, right? Which is that, like, you can go out with somebody and then fall in love with that person because it does help you get over somebody once you have to, like, care about somebody else. Like, you hang out with them, and that's just kind of a natural thing. Unless you really hate them, which is, then you should just break up. That's a different thing. But, like, in general. But it's kind of hard to say that Sayuri is a foil. I think it's hard to say that of any character in this because they're all just so nice, right? Like,
right. It's true.
It's not like good, bad personality traits. It's just kind of like different personality traits. Works out for Sayuri. Like,
yeah, like I didn't see her as like a bad character. I didn't see her as someone bad. It's just did I like her a lot? No, it's just she was just there for me.
Yeah, and I mean, but some part of me is like, she's kind of like the bad side of things just because she does swipe in on Daiki, like, while he's really, really down, like, immediately after getting rejected by Nanako. And she is the one who is like, I mean, she does question that action. She is also, like, the one who suggests that Nanako could steal Ren away from Mayuka. She's like, it's a possibility.
Right.
And I guess that's because that's what happened to her with Yu, who Yu is definitely the weakest character in this manga. Yeah. I guess Sayuri could go just above him, but like Yu, I was like, hi Yu, like you've been in the background for like 7 volumes, now you're important? Okay, sure. Like,
I know.
Where'd you come from?
Pretend that you're important now. Yeah.
I know, I was like, Manabu is more important than you, and that's sad. Let's just like be clear here. Like,
yeah, it's true.
You messed up. You thought you liked another girl. Turned out you didn't. You regret not going out with Sayuri anymore. I guess I'm really glad that, like, in the end, Sayuri didn't break up with Daiki because of that. And I'm like, all right, that's nice. She's not like, oh no. You just gets to be a sad boy in the background.
It's funny. I still think Daiki is too good for Sayuri, but yeah.
Oh. We have a shipping corner. Save your feelings. Controversial opinions for there.
Yeah.
But I guess, the equivalent of you is Mao, but I feel like Mao has a stronger personality by way of, having quips with Ando about, he's like, I don't trust anything you say. And she's like, whatever, like, you're wrong, but fine. So she's kind of fun. I appreciate her and Ando's quippiness and their love struggles, because she then in the end is like, I'm gonna come after you, Ando. I know that you don't like me because I did this bad thing to you, but I'm not gonna give up on you. And I'm like, your strong personalities deserve each other. Like, go for it.
It's true. Yeah, but doesn't she try to like separate everyone, kind of like?
I mean, she tries to keep Nanako and Ren from dating each other, but for the sake of Ando, because she knows that Ando's in love with Nanako.
Right.
But he's like, why should I trust you? Like, I don't understand your motives at all. Like, you hate me.
That was the thing with me. I was like, do I trust this girl? What do I do?
I know, it's definitely But, then it becomes clear that she's truthful. So I'm like, all right, it's cool now.
Yeah.
I think it will never not be funny to me, though, because the last character I have listed is Manabu, who is definitely just a, like, side friend of Ando and Ren and Yu. But I think it's immensely funny that, I read Volume 10, and I was like, okay, cool, like, all of Volume 10 is gonna be wrapping up, Ren and Nanako finally getting together, having some cute scenes, and then whatever, it'll end. But then half of it, it's only 2 chapters, and then, like, now Manabu gets a bonus chapter. I'm like, really? We're gonna end with, like, a I mean, that's not the final thing in the volume. The final thing in the volume is a cute bonus chapter of Ren and Nanako, but I was just like, why is this Manabu chapter here? Like, what is happening?
Why is it now? Why now? Right?
This really epic moment, and you're like, Manabu, let me throw him in here. I was just like, I can't deal with this, but I'm like, okay, fine.
Well, he kind of is like, he was kind of like the matcher, did get them jobs at the cafe and stuff like that. So,
that's true.
Ren and Ninako kind of closer together, so he's kind of the matchmaker of it all.
He's definitely the matchmaker of it all. But he's very blunt about things. He's definitely like, I support you, Ando, even though he doesn't know who Ando likes, so that becomes a point of contention. And then he's definitely just like blatantly trying to hook up Ninako and Ren. So I'm like, I appreciate you, Manabu, but also like, you didn't deserve to get like final chapter status.
Yeah. Maybe like a volume 5 bonus or something, but not like volume 10 bonus chapter.
I mean, I remember one of the side things in volume 9 is that I think Sakisaka did want it to be in volume 9 so that it wasn't in the final chapter, but she's like, due to like time constraints and whatever, I guess page numbers too, she was like, it has to go in volume 10. So I was like, I'm glad that you have seemingly some sense of regret about that, Sakisaka.
Yeah, it's true.
That brings me great joy. But yeah, I guess I have 2 points of discussion that are not just character based, and one of them was just talking about the merits and perhaps bad things about having so many love triangles or squares, because there really are so many in this manga, and I will list them out quickly so that listeners can, see how many there are and make the squares in their head. So I listed out Nanako, Ren, Mayuka, then Nanako, Ren, Ando. See, I think of those as different because the object of desire is really, like, Ren is the thing that Nanako and Mayuka go after, but then Ren and Ando go after Nanako, so, like, different things. Then there's Ando and Mao and Nanako. Daiki, Nanako, and Sayuri, which, gets knocked out in volume 1, basically, but it was there.
Yeah.
And then Sayuri, Daiki, and Yu. And so I was just like, wow, there are so many. I think maybe there's ones that I even forgot because my brain can't keep track of. Math is hard, I don't know. But I mean, I am team love triangles. I'm not saying that love triangles are perfect.
Right.
I think love triangles they could evolve, not to just squares, but like to like polyamory, to like, the way that love triangles are used is kind of to pit 2 different people against each other. So where you have very quiet, no personality Ren, you have very brash, very persistent, very imposing Ando. And I think that there could be space in love triangles to not just have boys, like, metaphorically represent, different aspects of what you want in a person. Like, I think there's a way to have them be similar, probably. And yeah, I think that would be a natural evolution. I don't know how you feel about love triangles in general, if you're Team Edward, Team whoever.
Well, I like love triangles, especially when they're done well. I don't mind love triangles at all. And I think out of the group of love triangles you listed, my favorite one would have to be the Ninako, Ren, and Ando, especially just when we see Ando. at times like, I'm starting to hate you, Ren. Like, it's just like
Ren.
to see that kind of, yeah, it's like he's having like there's this rivalry, and I don't know, I kind of like that. I kind of like that whole thing with the love triangle. So that was my favorite of the love triangles that you listed. But yeah, I don't see how the story, could not have had any love triangles. It's going to happen.
Like that's kind of its shtick.
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely happened, and there are many, and I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is the point. Like, if people are still listening but haven't read this, and because they don't care about spoilers, like, I guess don't read this if you really don't like love triangles, because then you'll probably just get mad. But I think overall it's like a really good use of love triangles, because again, like, nobody gets overly mad at each other either. Like, they're all so respectful to each other. and
I think the thing is that they're in high school. They're 16 years old. So it's like naturally you're going to have triangles because you're still so young and you're still trying new things, and you're still, you're interested in this, you're interested in that. So I think that the love triangle they're just very appropriate in this manga because they're young. It's going to happen. So it's definitely a key part of this manga.
Yeah, and I mean, having now been an adult for like a hot second, I guess, I'm like, Prime, like, it's so much easier to meet people in school settings. Like, you're forced to be with 30 plus different people on any given day, in any given class. Rotates around, at least in America, and I'm just like, it's so much harder to meet people as an adult.
Yeah.
Gosh, go have your love squares, my children. Go figure out your life.
It's true. Uh-huh.
But yeah, the one other large part of discussion that I wanted to have was about the art, just generally. And I guess, first obvious question is, did you like the art? And if so or not, why?
Absolutely. I really like Sakisaka Io's artwork. It's definitely very well done. And what I really love about her artwork is probably the expressions, especially the eyes. So I love the way she illustrates eyes, and it just definitely an iconic look, especially when I see those kind of eyes, I think Sakisaka Io. So I really appreciated the artwork, and it was really done, really well done, in my opinion. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've read a decent amount of shoujo manga. I'm not going to say I've, like, read more than anybody else or read a ton, but, like, definitely one of the prettier shoujo mangas that I've read. Like, all of these boys are so pretty. Just like how.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, my God. But yeah, like, pretty, but, like, distinctive. But what I also loved about it was they were, like, I mean, it's, the backgrounds aren't the most inspired things.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the backgrounds are kind of where it's lacking, but also it's like, whatever. It's a slice of life thing. Like, I don't care that much.
Right, like, yeah, because all the great illustrations are put into the characters and how they look and how their facial expressions are and things like that. So I didn't really mind that the backgrounds were kind of plain.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the strong point are within the characters and their designs, and how when the characters are crying, it looks so pretty, even though they're sad crying. It's just like, wow, this is really well illustrated. Like, the artwork for the characters, it's just great. But yeah, I would have to agree, the backgrounds and scenery are kind of, it's just okay.
I'm like, yeah, that's a tree, that's fine. Like,
yeah,
that's a cat.
Yeah.
But I feel like, the few instances where I noticed, like, very distinct style were in the way that Sakisaka uses, going back to triangles, she definitely uses, like, a 3-paneled storytelling in very specific instances to tell a very short story, which I really love. So, I mean, the instances that I flagged were, they're later ones because I didn't really pick up on the pattern until kind of later, I guess, and that's what I read most recently. But after Ando's being really sad and like given up on Nanako after getting beat up.
I know.
And that humiliating incident. Poor Ando.
I know.
He sacrificed so much and got so little. But there's a scene where Ren comes to his apartment after a girl is leaving, and the panels are just like, you know, girl comes out of door, girl like turns around, or like closes door, girl walks away. So it's just the front door. And I was like, okay, that's a great way to be like, there was a girl in Ando's apartment. You can imply so many things about what happened in there in that amount of time. I'm trying to read my notes about what other ones. Oh, yeah. The one that, I guess the first one that actually stood out to me was way back. It is actually towards the beginning when, you know, Mayuka finds out that their parents, I guess, are splitting up for good because she had still been harboring hopes that they would get back together. So then, you know, Ren has started having feelings for Nanako, but he's trying to steel himself up to be like, no, Mayuka needs me right now, so I'm gonna try to give up my feelings for Nanako. And there's just offset 3 panels, I'm pretty sure, of like his eyes slowly closing and Nanako slowly fading as he closes eyes. Like, she's really detailed at the start, and then by the end she's like really blurred out, and I was like, that's a great storytelling moment.
Yes.
I also think that speaks to a larger trend that's specific to Ren. Like, when she goes into Ren's perspective sometimes, he sees things in like a very, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like bland, but it's just like not the correct consistency. Like, there's a flattening of people that happens, which I thought was fitting given Ren's personality, like being kind of bland.
Yeah, exactly. It matches.
Yeah, it matches. Like, I'm glad that the way Ren sees the world matches how Ren like interacts with the world, apparently. Yeah. But just like, yeah, like when he sees his younger self after he's like reminiscing about Mayuka and whatever, there's definitely a flattening there. Or I think the scene where towards the end where him and Ando are in the park and Ren's like, I liked admiring you from back, and like I can't admire you right now because like you're just pathetic and like sad and like whatever. There's definitely like a different aesthetic for how Ren sees that, and I'm just like, I appreciate this.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like Sakisaka, you know, really knows how to add dramatic effect. So she knows how to really put emphasis on certain scenes.
Yeah.
And just like how you mentioned about the 3 panels and everything, she really knows how to, you know, even if it's a simple scene, even if it's just Ren closing his eyes and Ninako fading, it's like you actually feel the impact of these scenes because of how she's arranging the panels, how she's putting, you know, like more emphasis in the art. And it's just so nice to see the drama at times, because a lot of times in the manga it is, you know, there's a lot of friendship, there's a lot of, you know, happy and, you know, yes, feelings and stuff going on, but there are those moments of drama and there are those moments of like, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now, like try to understand it, try to feel the impact. And I think she pretty much nails it in a lot of the scenes, because she just, the way that she arranges the panels, the way that she illustrates them, she really knows how to really pinpoint, like, this is a key moment, look at this, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's really, like, looking at this story on the surface, it's like a pretty simple story.
Oh,
and
it is, yeah.
The art, like, really reflects that. But yeah, the way, I like its honesty in that it's like a good story. Like, I think of the 3 panels as like, it's like a good story has a beginning, a middle, an end. And like, she's like, the beginning is this girl is really innocent, has never been in love before. The middle is she's going through murky, like, oh, I don't know what to do with my feelings. He already has a girlfriend. Oh, how do we get together? Right. And they got together. Like, great. And I feel like she's just so good at arranging the panels to like consistently tell mini stories like that use very simple imagery and everything, but you're just like, I feel an entire story. Like, picture worth 1,000 words, great. Sakisaka's made it worth like 100,000 words in like a second. So I'm like, great. I love this art. Art A+. That's my very sophisticated conclusion of that segment. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say about art, or if you want to move on?
I think we covered it. Yep.
Okay, great.
Hi everybody, this is the Ashley, editor of the future, jumping in to say that before we get into the next segment, I would like to emphasize once again that this episode was recorded before Viz announced that they had licensed Blue Spring Ride, aka Aoharu Ride. So in the next section, we reference that Blue Spring Ride has not been licensed yet, but that is no longer true. Viz announced a license pretty recently. Nothing has come out yet, but just know that Blue Spring Ride / Aoharu Ride, they're going to call it Aoharu Ride, has been licensed, and you can get that in the future from Viz, so that's great. There still is the newer Io Sakisaka work that, as far as I know, has not been picked up, but, we'll one step at a time. Alright, so now we're going to answer the mysterious next question that is about Aoharu Ride.
One of the questions that we got on Twitter was from Lara at Heart of Manga, which Sally T93 also wanted us to answer, which was just, I want to know if either of you want to read other series by this mangaka after finishing this. After looking into her other works and how popular they are, I was kind of like, why are they not, because they're not licensed, so like, why?
Right.
So I was just kind of like, what in Strobe Edge, like, I have two running theories about it, which is that, Strobe Edge didn't sell well enough, so Viz and other publishers in America are, like, kind of wary about publishing other things.
That's possible,
Yeah. Or that, like, I forget what my other theory was, but yeah, like, I just have to assume that it didn't sell well, because, again, her other works are Blue Spring Ride, which we have mentioned, which has an anime. I know that it is one of Lara's, like, top wishes for being licensed, and it seems like a really popular thing. Like, it has an anime.
It is.
Many shoujo manga don't get anime adaptations, so like that in itself is a massive indicator.
Yes.
And it just seems like so many people love this series. And then she has a one that's currently running, which has a little bit of a funny name, but it's Omoware Furare. I'm sure that is like very much punnier in if you understand Japanese, which I don't. Yeah. So sorry, but like looking at the rankings for that, it's like that is a very popular series. Whenever a volume comes out, it's like near the top of the charts in Japan in terms of volume sit. Yeah.
Wow.
So the latest volume that I saw was volume 6. And it came in 5th place overall in the ranking when it was released, which was just like, it was behind Attack on Titan, some Attack on Titan volume that had been on the list for like 3 weeks or something. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, Sakisaka is clearly a big deal in Japan, but has somehow not spoken to American audiences for some reason. Was it just really unfortunate timing? I don't know. But
maybe it might have been the unfortunate timing, I think. At the time the manga was released here in the United States, I think the anime hadn't aired in Japan yet. So maybe after the anime had aired in Japan, after we got the Blu-rays, DVDs here in the United States to watch them, I think after people were, got familiar with Blue Spring Ride, maybe that would have been a better time to release this because they would have already been exposed to Blue Spring Ride. They'll say, oh, I watched the anime. Let me check out another work by this, the mangaka. So I think maybe it has to do with unfortunate timing.
Yeah, I'm looking up to see when it was published here in America. Apparently it came out 2012 to 2014, which is like a little later than I thought, actually. But yeah, it's so weird, like knowing how popular her works are in Japan and knowing how popular Blue Spring Ride is, that is not licensed yet. So I definitely would, to answer the question, I definitely would read other things, but they are not licensed. So I don't really read like unlicensed things because there are so many things that are licensed.
Me too.
I don't know. It's just so weird, but yeah. So
we have to get Viz to release the manga digitally.
This is our plug to Viz right now. Viz, please go pick up the other two big Sakisaka things. Pick up Blue Spring Ride and Whatever the new one is, you probably have to rename it. That's okay. We'll live. Maybe you don't rename it and you just have to explain the pun to me because I'm not smart, but that's fine too. Okay, so love quiz time. So do you want to take it as Nanako? Should we do that first? See how long this takes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to pretend to be Nanako, and we are taking the very silly BuzzFeed quiz. Which TV love triangle fits your personality? Should you be choosing between 2 vampires or 2 high school sweethearts? Or maybe both? See, the answer in all love triangles, as I say many times, is always why not both? Like,
yeah, same. I was going to say the same thing.
Why not all of them? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, the first question is, what's your ideal date? Answers: dinner, drinks, a nice walk, boat ride. I would assume that Nanako would pick a nice walk. Kind of. Because I think agree. That's kind of what happens.
Yeah. Yep. She would definitely pick a nice walk.
Okay. Glad we agree. So then, question 2. Where do you want to meet your soulmate? A local bar, school, the park, wherever fate decides. See, again, I'm just like, school is the obvious answer. I don't know if you want to disagree. But because they actually do meet at school, kind of. I mean, they meet at a train, but, technicalities. Okay.
Well, then that's wherever fate decides.
That's true. That is wherever fate decides. Okay, we'll go with wherever fate decides. I'm convinced now. Question 3. What is most important to you? Looks, brains, sexual chemistry, a sense of humor. Ooh, that one's hard because... out of all of those, I would lean towards looks.
Me too.
Okay. Because, there is stuff with Ren being good at math and, Naoka's not good at math, whatever. But, that's not important.
Yeah, I don't think she sees that.
Yeah, she doesn't see that initially, right? Initially, she sees, hey, that guy's hot.
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
Be real. Question 4. Would you prefer your mate to be excessively nice, a little dangerous, protective? I can't decide. Excessively nice, immediate go-to.
Yeah.
There is no better answer. Okay, this one's probably going to be hard. It is just simply choose a movie. The movies are Magic Mike, Twilight, Pretty in Pink, When Harry Met Sally, Castaway, Bridget Jones's Diary, The Spectacular Now, and Sweet Home Alabama. And I'm going to outright admit to you that I probably have not seen, let's see, a solid most of these films.
Oh, really?
I think I've only seen Twilight, regrettably, perhaps. I don't know. The first one's kind of fun. I really had fun watching it at 2 a.m. It made me laugh a lot. Anyway. And Bridget Jones's Diary, I'm not a big movie person, I guess.
I have seen 5 out of these, so...
Okay, so you have a more informed opinion. What do you think Nanako would pick?
Oh, no,
See, I'm just gonna say, definitely not Magic Mike, right?
Definitely not, no.
Okay, see? Definitely not Castaway.
Definitely not.
Beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen When Harry Met Sally, so I have no idea what that's about. I've seen Pretty in Pink, but I don't feel like Ninako would exactly pick that. Spectacular Now is a great film, but the main character isn't like Ren, so I'm not gonna pick that one. I haven't seen Sweet Home Alabama. I think it's gonna have to be Twilight. I mean, at least there's a love triangle, right?
Oh no! All right, you can click Twilight. I'm gonna click a random. I'm gonna click Sweet Home Alabama just because Derek from Grey's Anatomy is in there, and I'm
yeah,
he kind of looks like Ren. I don't know in that picture.
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, so let's see if we got different answers. I got Bill, Sookie, Eric from True Blood. I didn't even click Twilight. Some love triangles are between the nice guy and the bad boy. You're not about that game. You'd rather just choose between the bad boy and the slightly badder boy. That's not true. No, this is all wrong. Both of whom still have a sweet side. Nope, I disagree with this answer. Did you get a different answer?
I did. I got Damon, Elena, Stefan, or whatever from the Vampire Diaries.
Why are there so many like vampire ones up in here? What is
I don't know. It says, your love life has been a winding road in which you've dated very different types of people. Some have been for their tenderness, while others have been out of pure chemistry. Either will do fine for now, but you know, there's a right choice in the long run.
No, I disagree with both of these answers.
I know.
This quiz disappoints me. Fail quiz. All right, but anyway, this is like the almost final segment, which is Shipping Corner, where we finally tell the world how we really feel about all these people who are hooked up.
Yep.
But the first one is Daiki and Ninako. So, no, I don't think they go well together. I think that as friends, they worked as friends.
Yes, uh-huh.
Clearly, Ninako, like, was not into him at all. So, no, just stay friends. Love Confession was not super cute. I don't know. How do you feel?
The Love Confession wasn't cute, and he was very quickly friend-zoned by Ninako, so...
Yeah, like, he was never not in the friend zone.
Yeah, exactly. From the first chapter, even though he doesn't realize it, even though he doesn't want that, he's stuck in the friend zone.
Yes, and then you have strong feelings, apparently, about Sayuri and Daiki.
You know, Daiki is too good. He is too good for her.
This is too good for her, like, personality-wise, like...
Yeah, like, he just seems like he's so, like, dedicated and so passionate, and he's ready to do anything for the girl that he loves, and you know, for the longest time he still has feelings for Ninako, and I don't feel like it's like that with Sayuri. Like he thinks that she's pretty and everything, but to me she kind of still feels like a rebound kind of person. Like, you know, yes, I couldn't have Ninako, so okay, there's another pretty girl. Maybe I can be happy with her. And that's what it's like to me. So I do not ship them at all. I think he deserves much better than that. I think a girl should be like, oh, I want to go out with Daiki. You know, I'm going to try to win him over. And I don't think that she doesn't really do that. And I don't know, like, I don't know.
I mean, their love scene is definitely not cute. It's not even like on... not screen, but you know, it's not like shown to the audience. It's just kind of like she appears after the whole thing and she's like, well, I like you, and then he's like okay, I guess. It's like, I'll think about that. And then like, because he knows that she likes him, he starts to get jealous when she shows affection to other guys, which is really strange. In that regard, I'm like, okay, I guess that fits in line with, you know, she's not good enough for him because she's clearly like not as into it as him.
Right, uh-huh.
But I feel like the manga is, you know, that's one of its big things that it's concerned with, is not just perhaps one-sided feelings, but, you know, is it okay to be in relationships where, you know, maybe one person's feelings are stronger than the other?
Exactly, uh-huh.
And, like, does that imbalance lead to bad things? And I guess that is particularly true of Sayuri because, you know, that's kind of the conflict she has with you, is that Yu gets made fun of for not taking the lead or whatever with Sayuri on their dates, and Sayuri like does everything, so seemingly is like more into it, but in the end that's kind of proven that that's like okay, and I'm not sure how I feel about that conclusion, but you know, I think it's natural that at different points, you know, one of you is feeling the relationship more than the other, so yeah, that doesn't make it bad, but yeah, whatever. I don't know. So do you know, segueing there, do you prefer Sayuri with you? But like, you is just a schmucky character.
Yeah, you know what? I prefer her with you, I think, yeah. I don't know, because it's just a thing, I don't feel like it's, like, with Daiki and Sayuri, I feel like she wouldn't do as much, you know, for him as he would do for her. But I don't feel that kind of way when Sayuri and you. I don't feel like that with them. So I don't know. It's different though. Like it's a different feeling.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I don't remember that we get to see how Sayuri and you like start going out. So
I don't think, do we? Yeah, I don't. I don't remember.
I just kind of remember that it's like Yu comes and finally like admits that he's like, I'm the one who goes out with Sayuri, who went out with Sayuri, and she's like angry at her ex or whatever. And then there is a flashback scene between them, but I don't really remember the details of there, so it must suck. That's if it is there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, then the next not super large romance that I have listed is Manabu and Ritsuko, which is only in that side chapter that Manabu gets at the end, because Manabu. Oh.
It's cute. They're cute.
I actually really thought that, because this isn't what's laid out in the side chapter, right? But I really thought that they like decided to do a long distance thing, and I thought that was an implication of something at some other point in the manga. But I was like, am I just confused? I guess so. I don't know. Because I really thought the conclusion of that was, that he had... But I mean, it was like one scene in the manga that I think I thought that, and it wouldn't make sense otherwise how he's spending his time. So I guess I just made that up in my mind, as I did many other things, apparently, in rereading this manga and being like, that's not how I thought it went.
Right,
That's not how I remember it going. But yeah, Manabu and Ritsuko are like kind of cute, I guess. It's that he... pursues her really hard, even though everybody's like, she's way out of your league, bro. Like, he's way too short and, like, not handsome enough, I guess, for her, is how everybody feels. But she does come to reciprocate his feelings in the end, but it's kind of like, I'm leaving, so I don't want to give you a false sense of hope, because she's, like, going to study abroad or something.
Yeah, but I just love his enthusiasm. Like, he's like, yeah, I like you. Like...
It's true, he's very enthusiastic. Very persistent in a different way than Ando.
Yeah.
Ando and Nanako?
Yep.
Do we think that relationship could have worked? Would it have been cute?
I think that it could have worked if Ninako actually just would have given it a try.
Yeah? You think if she had been like, I will use you to get over Ren, it would have worked?
Well, maybe not, like, using him, but maybe if she was like, okay, like, this guy obviously isn't into me or whatever, let's try it out with this guy. Maybe it could have worked, but I don't think that she should have taken advantage of him and been like, I'm going to use you to get closer to Ren, or I'm going to use you because, whatever. Like, I don't think it would have worked in that circumstance, under that circumstance. Mm-hmm. But I think that if she would have actually given it a try, forgot about Ren, whatever, I think that they could have actually had a really nice relationship.
Yeah, I'm really torn because, again, it's like, this is definitely, like, Nanako's so nice that I can't see it going badly, and she clearly does like Ando, particularly as a friend. She, like, really respects that he, like, put himself in bodily harm to protect her.
Yeah.
That becomes, like, she's like, I feel so guilty that I don't reciprocate this guy's feelings when he was willing to get beat up by thugs for me, like...
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, I could imagine that if Ren wasn't in the picture at all, they could be okay. They could be a little bit of opposites attract cuteness, like...
Yeah.
Once a playboy, but now he dates the really pure-hearted girl, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay, I can be sold on that. Okay. And I don't even know where to begin talking about love confessions, because Ando does it, like, 4 times, and they're all very earnest, so I guess they're good. I don't...
Yes. But it's like every time, like, after that, he's like, you could take your time, you don't have to answer me right now.
Okay, wait. I'm so confused about that tactic, because it's clearly it's so obvious, because, like, Daiki does it too.
Yeah.
And Sayuri, they're all like, you know what, I know you're going to say no right now, but just think about it for a second.
Think about it, yeah.
And then it's like, okay, but what you're really saying is that you're just never going to, like, really accept the answer is no, and you're just going to keep, like, kicking that down the road until you think the answer could be yes. But, like, okay. Oh boy.
Yep, that's how it is. Uh-huh.
I guess, but then... So, I actually can't even remember. At the end, do Ando and Mao end up getting together again? No. She's just declares that, like, she's gonna keep chasing him because she still likes him. I think.
Yeah, no, I don't think they get back together though.
Yeah, so it's it's really hard to say based purely on their like quippy sort of meanness with each other. I think that they could do well together, but like I don't know if you could ever get over that past of like, hey, you kind of tried to make a pass at my friend. That's kind of like cheating on me. I mean, I guess couples do get over bigger things than that, so like sure, why not? I believe in you, Ando and Mao. I don't know if you believe in them.
Well, didn't Mao like cheat on him or something, or
I mean, I think the only thing that happened was that she tried to kiss Ren.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's what happened.
But it's not like, and then Ren, deflected it, which is, definitely some form of cheating, but
I think because since that happened to him, like wasn't she using him or something? It was something like that. Because I remember, because that's why he's like, oh, you could do the same to me, Ninako. You could use me and just date me and just use me, even though you don't have feelings for me. You could still go out with me anyway, and it'll be okay as long as you're with me, even though I know that you have feelings for another guy. So wasn't it the same with him and Mao? Or wasn't there like
it was
some
that
kind of parallel?
Yeah, it was that Mao. I think it was made clear that she preferred Ren, but then Ando is like, well, but we could go out, and she like knows that he's friends with Ren. So they go out, but then it's kind of like she was like, I did fall in love with you as we were going out, but then I had this opportunity to kiss Ren, so like I took it, and it's like, okay. 'Cause she's like alone in a classroom with him one time or something. That's the opportunity to kiss Ren. Cool. But yeah, so I mean, it would really depend on whether Ando can get over that, and I feel like Ando can get over that.
He probably could. I mean, he has like a whole phone full of girls' phone numbers. I mean, he could probably get over it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one who keeps advocating that you can fall in love with people even if you don't love them currently. So like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I believe. I think he should put his believe in his own philosophy. And then the last two couples are the girls with Ren. So Ren and Mayuka.
Yeah, Ren and Mayuka.
Did you like them? That sounds like no.
Well, it's kind of like a yes and a no.
Okay.
Because it's like, in a way, I wanted them to break up. I was expecting them to break up. I was like, okay, this girl's a model. I know something is going to happen. This is how shoujo manga works. I'm pretty sure.
This is the one thing where it fulfills the stereotypes of shoujo manga.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I know something is going to happen. So I didn't want to get too attached to this couple because I knew something was up. There has to be something, especially with this love triangle going on. So I was like, I'm not going to get too attached to this little couple. But, Mayuka isn't a bad character at all. And we see that in that bonus chapter. And you see how their relationship forms. And that's where you begin to like her because you're like, oh, okay, this isn't just some kind of girl who is very pretty and a model and does this and that and works a lot. And, we see Ren often during social gatherings where they're like going places and everything. He's like, oh, I have to go because I have to, go see my girlfriend. And you're kind of like, really? Like, you have to go see your girlfriend now? But the thing is that she was, his first love. And obviously that's an important person in his life. And while it doesn't exactly work out, you see that he wants to be the good guy and he doesn't accept his feelings for Ninako, and he knows he does have feelings, but he doesn't want to accept them because he's just too good. He's too nice. And he's like, I can't do this because, I have Mayuka and she's my first love. What am I going to do? I have her, and so I knew that they were doomed, but
they were cute while they lasted, right?
Yeah, they were cute, but I knew something was up. I was like, I know something's going to happen, so I'm not going to get too attached to them because I know somewhere along the line something's going to happen to these people.
Yeah, I'm glad it ended like it ended amicably between them, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Because again, as you were saying, Mayuka is a model, and the stereotype is that models are kind of, not the greatest people, kind of catty. And we as readers carry those stereotypes. The people who Ren's admirer club, they clearly carry those stereotypes, so they are reinforced to us as readers. And so like there is this lingering feeling that I'm like, I don't know, I like misremembered stuff about Mayuka because I like imprinted stereotypes on top of her. Right. And again, because like I'm not really into such girly things. I mean, I'm into shoujo manga, but like I'm not really like into makeup and stuff like Mayuka. So I was kind of like, it was a little hard to negotiate with her. But like, yeah, reading their backstory, getting their backstory, then seeing how she changed and how she accepted that change, I was like, yeah, like I can appreciate you, Mayuka. Like you definitely shouldn't be with Ren anymore, and Ren's just too nice to like break up with you.
Exactly. I think it was such a beautiful, like, that page where she gets her wings.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that page. Because I was like, good for you, Mayuka. You're really maturing. Even, like, when she realizes, like, hey, this isn't going to work out. Let me break it up with this guy because, now with the things with her parents, and she has trouble accepting what's going on with her parents as well. And just seeing that scene where she gets her wings and matures and just goes on her own to basically keep developing as a character. It was just I loved it. I loved it. I found it to be like so liberating. I was like, good for you, Mayuka. Like go spread your wings and go experience different things, because her journey has just begun. Because I feel like she was a very insecure character at first, where she's like, hey, I'm doing this modeling thing, but do you like it? Am I getting your approval? And she's not really, it felt like she wasn't doing it for herself, but she was doing it to get the approval of Ren and maybe even her parents. So just seeing how she changed as a character and everything, it was just amazing. And yeah, I knew they weren't going to last, but yeah.
I think I actually really liked Ren's reaction after they break up, because I appreciated his acknowledgement that he's like, I know I'm not in love with Mayuka anymore. Like he knows he has feelings for somebody else, and that his feelings have weakened for Mayuka, and that he's been trying to like bring them back in his earnest Ren white lie way. But then in the end, he realizes that even though he knows those things, he still is really sad that they've like broken up. He's like, I really, in my heart of hearts wanted this to work, and I did love her at the time. She was my first love, and yeah, I'm like, oh, that's sad.
I know, when he's just on the bench, just sitting down. I'm like, oh.
Looking at his younger self or whatever, like having a little chat with his younger self. See, this is one of the instances where I was like, art, A+.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah, so Ren and Mayuka maybe are better as a broken, like they are good as a couple because of the way that they broke up. Is that like the conclusion we just reached? I think so.
Yeah. Yep.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
New conclusion to have reached in Shipping Corner.
I know. That's different, right?
That's different than what normally happens here. Yeah. So. But the ultimate couple, Ren and Nanako, I assume that we both support them.
I do, and at times it's just like, just confess already.
Confess.
Just do it.
I mean, technically, Nanako does it at the end of like volume 1, and then is like, oh wait, but Ren has a girlfriend and has now rejected me, and I don't want to break up the beautiful friendship between Ren and Ando, so we have to wait another 8-9 volumes for that to happen again.
Yeah, I know. It's like when she gives him the Valentine's chocolate. I mean, she just gives him like a little square, but like
yes, but really only as thanks for like borrowing his notebook or whatever, his textbook.
She's like, I don't like you, but I'll give you chocolate anyways.
Yeah, she's like, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I support Ren and Nanako, even though I'm kind of like, y'all don't really have strong personalities, but you're cute. You're cute together. I
Yeah, I like them. Yeah, and I liked their confession scene.
Yeah, you like confession scenes on a train? I like the train
Yeah.
motif overall.
Well, the train is, yeah, it's very important. I mean, they kind of meet on the train, so it's like to see that train again and everything and just reoccur throughout the manga. I think it's very important.
Yeah, I was trying to form like quote unquote deep thoughts about the train, but
Uh-oh,
like
yeah.
I was kind of like, I don't know, like it's so nice. I guess it's nice to see them grow and like sort of change through all their train rides together because they do ride the train a lot. Like that's
Oh yeah.
but like Ren's getting off at the same station, like it's kind of, it both shows how they've changed, how they've found each other in this sort of sea of people. Because, in the love confession scene, it's kind of, right before that, Nanako, like a bunch of people get off the train and she's like, I can't make it to the train because it's so crowded.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that like Ren has gotten off anyway or whatever. So I've kind of appreciated the both like routineness of the train because you do need to stay in love. You have to like appreciate a routine. You have to appreciate like kind of going through the same motions every
Right.
day, but appreciating the little differences. And I like the train as a way of being like in this sea of madness, of crush of
Yeah.
people. They still found each other. And I'm like, all right, trains are cool. That's
Yeah, it's a cute little thing, yeah.
yeah. And then my final question of, well, I guess second final question in shipping corner is always, is there anybody you wish had actually been shipped together that was not in the manga?
Oh, that's a good question.
Mine is obvious, but I wrote down Ren and Ando just because
Ronaldo.
because the way that they fight is so like lovers spatty, and like the way that Ren phrased that whole like, I liked sitting behind you and admiring you from here. I was like, I bet you did. Like, there are no sexual innuendos happening right here. None.
Right.
But I don't know if you felt the same way, or you just want them to stay friends. Staying friends is also admirable.
That's cool too,
Yeah,
right?
that's cool too. Not everything has to be about romance. Filthy mind.
I like them as it's like a bromance. Is that what they call it? Yeah,
Yeah.
bromance. Like-
They definitely have a romance. I don't.
Yeah.
Like you can't tell me otherwise.
I like the whole bromance thing. So
But I assume that our one true pairing is indeed Ren and Nanako.
I would have to say, yeah, I would have to say that. Uh-huh.
I don't know if you're gonna throw like some weird thing to Daiki since you love him so much or something.
Daiki and myself, no.
Yeah, Daiki and yourself. Hey, I'll accept it. So I don't know if we have any final thoughts.
It was a quick read, surprisingly. Well, it's only 10 volumes, so it was a very quick read. It was very enjoyable. I would say I recommend it. Definitely a lot of love triangles and all of that stuff. A lot of emotions, a lot of crying, a lot of pain, but it was still pretty enjoyable. And this manga has me interested in Blue Spring Ride. While I have seen the anime for that, I would love to check out more of Sakisaka Io's works, even though they aren't quite licensed here yet, but I hope that they are in the future.
I know. Plus, Blue Spring Ride anime can't possibly have gone. I think there are like 13 volumes of the manga, and when I looked on Crunchyroll, I'm pretty sure I saw it was only a 12-episode anime, so there's no way that it's all like in there, right?
Yeah, no, it's short, and I'm pretty sure there's more to the manga, but I haven't read it yet, so I would love to.
Yeah, and I agree that this is a pretty, Strobe Edge. If you're at all remotely curious about reading it after having listened to this, or whatever, I don't know. It reads quickly because it's like pretty simple,
Right, yeah, it's a fast read.
It's a fast read, yeah. I was like, oh, I can bust out a volume in like 45 minutes. That's cool. Maybe I'm a slow reader. I don't know. Maybe some of you are like, that's so slow. That's fast for me. Let's just...
That is fast.
Keep it
No,
that
that
way.
is fast.
Thanks for listening to Shojo Tell. comments, questions, constructive criticism, concerns? Need to gush about your OTP? Email shoujoandtell@gmail.com or leave a comment on shoujoandtell.com/strobeedge. We're at Shojo and Tell on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and probably some other things that I don't even remember, but anyway. Alyssa, where can people find your work on the internet?
I am found on YouTube at Anime Intensity. That's my channel where I do a lot of anime-related content, also manga content as well. You can also find me on Twitter at the same Twitter handle at Anime Intensity, and other social media platforms, once again, Anime Intensity. So just search for me. I'm there, and I'm always excited to talk about anime and manga. So yeah.
Yeah, gotta get anime intensity everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise,
it's intense.
It's gonna break everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so are you excited every time you see a new episode from Shojo and Tell? If so, please consider leaving a rating in iTunes or Stitcher. This will help the podcast reach more hearts, or at least ears. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next time for the first half of Fushigi by Yu Watase. I'm very bad at pronouncing Fushigi. When I do that episode, I hope that I just say FY over and over because I don't want to embarrass myself.
Oh.
Anyway, I know all of you are excited for all the Miyaka and Tamahomeing that's going to happen, and that we're finally covering something by Yu Watase. So, until then, bye.